It's time for 9.0. Let's get to it.
I don't think two go in the top 10. I think one probably does. I say probably because there's no certainty that'll happen.
It's hard to believe that the 2022 NFL Draft is only a couple of weeks away. We're projecting another blockbuster trade involving another big-name player in our latest 2022 first-round mock draft. So, let's get right into it. Number 1. Jacksonville Jaguars, Aiden Hutchinson. Hutchinson's not only the most polished prospect in this draft, but he'd address one of the many organizational needs on the defensive line in Duval County. Hutchinson and Josh Allen would give the Jaguars a dynamic 1-2 pass rushing duo for years to come. Number 2. Detroit Lions, Trayvon Walker. Some people think Detroit will go off the board and take a QB here. Unless they're trading down, GM Brad Holmes should take the next best player who will fill an organizational weakness. Georgia Bulldogs defensive end Trayvon Walker would give Detroit its first superstar defensive lineman since the Ndamukong Suh days. Number 3. Houston Texans, Evan Neal. Houston could go anywhere with this pick, but don't you think they'll have a tough time passing on the idea of an Evan Neal-Laramie Tunsil pairing on the offensive line? Davis Mills, or whoever the Houston Texans starting QB is, would sure enjoy playing behind these two. Number 4. New York Jets, Kyle Hamilton. A lot of scouts now expect the Notre Dame safety to fall out of the top 10. Not us. The Jets have holes all over the secondary, and Hamilton is a once-in-a-lifetime prospect who could instantly and single-handedly turn this defense around. Number 5. New York Giants, Ahmad Sauce Gardner. The Giants have limitless options with the number 5 and number 7 picks, but it'll ultimately be too difficult to pass up on the best corner in the draft. Sauce Gardner is an elite lockdown coverman who should make an impact at the NFL level right away. Number 6. Carolina Panthers, Kenny Pickett. Is Pickett a top 10 prospect? Well, not really, but the Panthers have to take their shot here. The defense is set, they added 2 new quality starters on the O-line, and they have a plethora of offensive playmakers. Pickett is by far the most NFL-ready quarterback of this class. Number 7, New York Giants from Chicago Bears, Ikem Ekwonu. The Giants polish off a fantastic opening day at the draft by grabbing one of the top 2 offensive linemen with their second pick of the first round. Ekwonu and Andrew Thomas would form a dream pairing on the O-line, giving Daniel Jones ample protection and the opportunity to hopefully break out once and for all in 2022. Number 8. Atlanta Falcons, Garrett Wilson. The Matt Ryan trade puts Atlanta in full rebuilding mode. There are flaws all over the roster, but with Calvin Ridley suspended for all of 2022, GM Terry Fontenot has to grab a suitable replacement. Wilson, Kyle Pitts, and Cordarrelle Patterson would provide Marcus Mariota with a solid trio of playmaking weapons to work with. Number 9, Seattle Seahawks from Denver Broncos, Malik Willis. The Seahawks can afford to take a chance on one of the top QB prospects here. Willis's dual-threat game could take off in the run-heavy offense that Pete Carroll loves to deploy. Seattle could try and pretend that they want to give Drew Lock a shot, but if Willis is still there at number 9, it'll be hard for them to pass up on a quarterback with his skill set. Number 10, Seattle Seahawks, Kayvon Thibodeau. Projected trade alert, and it is a blockbuster. The Seahawks acquire the number 10 selection from the New York Jets in exchange for superstar wideout DK Metcalf and a 2023 4th-round pick. The Jets are happy to give Seattle back their number 10 pick that they got in the Jamal Adams trade in 2020, especially if it means landing an explosive pass catcher to accommodate Zach Wilson. The Seahawks then use the pick on boomer-bust Oregon defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau. Seattle has lacked game-changing pass rushers for a while now, which makes Thibodeau worth taking the chance on here. Number 11, Washington Commanders, Drake London. The best way to find out if Carson Wentz is your guy? Give him the best possible supporting cast. Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson are a very nice start. Now let's pencil in the big-bodied London to complement them. He'd give Wentz a stellar deep threat and a big-time red zone weapon. After all, the guy did put up 88 receptions for 1,084 yards and 7 touchdowns in just 8 games with USC last year. Number 12, Minnesota Vikings, Derek Stingley Jr. Stingley is another boomer bust prospect, but the Vikings are one solid lockdown corner away from contending again. So he's pretty worth taking a chance on here. Stingley would have the fortunes of learning from all-time great Patrick Peterson, who was just brought back on a 1-year deal. Number 13, Houston Texans from Cleveland Browns, Jermaine Johnson II. Gotta think Houston will go defense with one of their 2 first-rounders. Placing Johnson on a defensive line with run-stopping sensations Jonathan Grenard and Roy Lopez could take this front 7 to a whole new level. Number 14, Baltimore Ravens, George Karlaftis. Yes, they did bring back Calais Campbell, but more help off the edge is needed. The Ravens sorely missed Matt Judon in 2021 and failed to find a suitable replacement. Karlaftis would bring more power and physicality to an already scary Baltimore defense. Number 15, Pittsburgh Steelers, Desmond Ridder. Another projected trade. We got the Steelers acquiring the number 15 pick from the Eagles in exchange for the number 20 and number 138 selections, and Pittsburgh's 2023 third-round pick. Having already missed out on Pickett and Willis, trading up here will allow Pittsburgh to take its QB of the future in Desmond Ridder. The Cincinnati Bearcats standout can sit behind Mitch Trubisky for a year or two before finally taking over at the reins. His ceiling is too promising to pass on, and a model organization like Pittsburgh can afford to buy its time with Ridder before unleashing him in 2023 or later. Number 16, New Orleans Saints from Philadelphia Eagles, Charles Cross. The Saints' blockbuster trade with Philadelphia leads us to believe that the franchise wants 2 NFL-ready players who can help them compete in a suddenly wide-open NFC. Replacing Terron Armstead at offensive tackle is a must. Mississippi State standout Charles Cross is more than NFL-ready. An offensive tackle duo of Cross and Ryan Ramczyk would keep the Saints' O-line intact for the long run. Number 17, Los Angeles Chargers, Jordan Davis. GM Tom Telesco retained star wideout Mike Williams and added J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack to the defense. A capable run stopper is the last missing piece on this otherwise deep roster, and that's why Jordan Davis is the perfect pick for the Chargers. Number 18, Philadelphia Eagles from New Orleans Saints, Devin Lloyd. Adding Hassan Reddick in free agency was a big-time win for GM Howie Roseman. Now, let's give Philly another game record to accommodate Reddick in the form of ultra-athletic linebacker Devin Lloyd. Linebacker was a weakness in Philly last year. Reddick and Lloyd rounding out a defense led by Darius Slay, Brandon Graham, and Fletcher Cox? Well, that's one way of enhancing your championship hopes. Number 19, New Orleans Saints from Philadelphia Eagles, Chris Olave. The Saints have lacked a quality number 2 wideout to complement Michael Thomas for a while now. This is their chance to finally get one. Chris Olave is a touchdown machine who can stretch any secondary, having notched 32 scores over his final 3 seasons at Ohio State. With a rebuilt O-line and Olave joining a healthy Thomas and Alvin Kamara, the sky is now the limit for this New Orleans offense. Number 20, Philadelphia Eagles, Jameson Williams. It'd be a shocker if Roseman didn't add a receiver in the first round. Williams would have easily been the first wideout off the board had he not torn his ACL in the national championship game. But I'm sure the Eagles won't be complaining as they give Jalen Hurts another big-time weapon by teaming up Williams with fellow Crimson Tide alum Devonta Smith. Number 21, New England Patriots, Roger McCreary. J.C. Jackson's departure leaves the Patriots in need of a new lockdown coverman. And nobody develops those guys better than Bill Belichick. There is zero doubt that he would turn McCreary into a Pro Bowl coverman in short time. J.C. Jackson who? Number 22, Green Bay Packers from Las Vegas Raiders, Treylon Burks. It has been 20 years since the Pack used a first-round pick on a receiver. That man was Javon Walker. Time to end the drought. The departures of Devontae Adams and Marquez Valdes-Scantling leaves gaping holes at the wideout position. Gotta take the best receiver remaining here. We're sure Aaron Rodgers and Treylon Burks would get it going pretty quickly. Number 23, Arizona Cardinals, Trent McDuffie. Arizona could look at a receiver or pass rusher here, but cornerback remains the pressing need. McDuffie isn't a ball hawker, and he isn't as big as the other top corner prospects, but he makes up for it with his football IQ, speed, and footwork. Number 24, Dallas Cowboys, Trevor Penning. Some youth is needed on the Cowboys O-line following the departures of Connor Williams and La'el Collins. Zach Martin and Tyron Smith remain studs there, and they'll have no problem grooming Penning as he becomes an effective starter right off the bat. Number 25, Buffalo Bills, Andrew Booth Jr. The Bills' lack of secondary depth was exposed in their playoff loss to the Kansas City Chiefs last year. And gotta find a capable complement to All-Pro Tre'Davious White. and Booth Jr. fits the bill. The Clemson corner had 5 picks over his final 2 seasons of college ball. He and White could very well emerge as the league's top cornerback tandem in short time. Number 26, Tennessee Titans, Nakobe Dean. The Titans may be tempted to take an offensive lineman here, but if Dean is available at number 26, it'll be very hard to pass on him. Dean is a Swiss Army knife at linebacker. He had 6 sacks, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and 6 pass defenses for Georgia last year. Dean, Jeffrey Simmons, and Harold Landry would give the Titans 3 potential All-Pros in the front 7. Number 27, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kenyon Green. Yeah, they traded for Shaq Mason, but the departure of Alex Kappa and the retirement of Ali Marpet still has the Bucs down a starting guard. Here is their chance to fill that hole. The Bucs also need to think about the future, with Ryan Jensen and Donovan Smith getting up there in age. Green and Treston Wirfs Jr. would give Tampa 2 long-term franchise building blocks in the trenches. Number 26, Green Bay Packers, Zion Johnson. The Packers could double down on receivers in round 1, and we wouldn't complain one bit. But the O-line could use an upgrade given Lucas Patrick's departure and David Bakhtiari's injury history. The Packers have a rich history of quickly developing their young offensive linemen into game changers. So let's give them Boston College stalwart Zion Johnson. Number 29, Kansas City Chiefs from Miami Dolphins, Jahan Dotson. KC will most certainly use one of their first 2 rounders on a receiver following the Tyreek Hill trade. Jahan Dotson can replace Hill's red zone production, having racked up 20 touchdowns over his final 2 years at Penn State. Dotson, Valdez-Scantling, and Juju Smith-Schuster will at least give Mahomes more depth than he's ever had at the wideout position before. Number 30, Kansas City Chiefs, David Ojabo. The Chiefs need to address a leaky pass rush and run defense here. It's fine to hold out hope that Frank Clark will regain his Pro Bowl form next year, but KC will need a lot more than that to rebound on defense. Michigan product David Ojabo would give the blitz-happy Steve Spagnuolo 3 capable pass rushers, along with Clark and Chris Jones. Number 31, Cincinnati Bengals, Tyler Linderbaum. Linderbaum is talented enough to be a top 10 pick, but very few teams need a starting center to the point where they'd spend a first-round pick on him. That works out nicely for the Bengals, who can add the best center in the draft to their rebuilt O-line. Linderbaum would join a group that features newcomers Alex Kappa, Ted Karras, and Lael Collins. This pick just makes too much sense not to happen. Number 32, Atlanta Falcons, Matt Corral. One more projected trade in round 1. The Falcons get their final pick of round 1 from Detroit in exchange for the number 43 and number 74 picks and a 2023 4th rounder. A hefty price to move up, yes, but the Falcons own 2 seconds and a pair of 3rd rounders this year, so they can afford to move up and look for their QB of the future. Mariota is the ideal short-term bridge for Arthur Smith and company, as Corral will probably need a year or 2 to develop. And with that pick, Fontenot finishes off a stellar 2nd draft in Atlanta by getting a future star wideout and his hopeful QB of the future. But what changes would you make to our 9th edition of the first round mock draft? Do you think DK Metcalf will get moved at the draft? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.